All right, hi everyone, and welcome to our current student Q&A panel. We have three students that will be joining us for this panel, and I'd like to introduce them real quick before we get started. We have Bella with us, who is a junior pre-law major with a business minor from Canada. We have Nadia, who is a senior psychology major from North Royalton, Ohio. And then we have Jordan, who is a junior nursing major from Brunswick, Ohio. And you can see on your screen all the wonderful things that they are involved with. This group of students has, a really cool, diverse outlook on what it means to be an Ursuline student. So we'll go ahead and dive into our first question. So I'll ask this to Bella first, and then we'll go over to Jordan, then we'll go to Nadia. How did you guys end up at Ursuline? What's your story from, learning about Ursuline to attending? How did you find out about it? What made you decide that Ursuline was the school for you, and why do you stay?
Okay, so I started to, go to different soccer things like showcases and everything like that because I do go to Ursuline for a soccer scholarship. And I remember going to a tournament and Jason Cubbins, the soccer coach, had reached out to me after that tournament through email. And with that being said, I had a couple other schools that I was looking at and I thought I'd dive in, research the school as well as get an outlook on things. Good thing that I had some friends that actually went to Ursuline, so I got in contact with them. I actually visited the school and got to stay overnight, which was a really good experience for me and really memorable and fun. I ended up picking Ursuline because I got to sit in on a class, and I just loved the environment. I loved the small classroom sizes. I loved that I was able to hear people's opinions and them talk rather than it being more of just a lecture with 500 students just sitting there. So I signed my contract with Ursuline and I decided to stay and, continue with my educational career at Ursuline just because I loved the environment. I loved the people there. I love the activities. I love always constantly being involved. It's just a very good place to be at.
All right, thank you, Bella. Over to Jordan.
My story is kind of different, I guess. My dad works in the healthcare field, and I was thinking about going to nursing. I really didn't know what I wanted to do for college. I had went to a bunch of different campuses and looked at different places, and he was talking to a couple of his colleagues at work, and they all went to Ursuline and were in their nursing program. And he was like, I really think you should go check this place out. And I was like, I don't know. I really hadn't heard anything about it. So they had their go to the school and their Ursuline Nursing Day. And so I went and I actually loved the school. I loved their program and I started doing more research and I realized how good of a program it is in the state of Ohio. And that's kind of how I ended up at Ursuline. And I loved the campus. I loved how it wasn't too far away from home, but it was still almost an hour away. So, and that's how I ended up there.
Awesome. Thank you, Jordan. Nadia.
Okay, so I used to play CYO basketball back in grade school, so fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth grade. And then I think it was in seventh grade, Ursuline was hosting a tournament. So my coach put us in this tournament, and then we came to Ursuline to play this tournament. And my godmother actually graduated from Ursuline, so as soon as she heard that I was going to a tournament game there, she started chiming in my ear, hey, yeah, you should go to college there. So, I was in seventh grade. I didn't care about college whatsoever. I wasn't even in high school yet, but she kept doing it to me, to poke fun at me. And she wanted to advertise her alma mater. So I just played basketball there. I thought it was, cool because I was at a college campus, didn't think anything of it. And then I think it was about my junior year of high school, I started to think about colleges and where I could go. And so she got a little more serious about it. And she was like, you should seriously look at it though. So, I started to look at it, but because I was a junior, I wasn't so super serious at this point. But I was like, oh yeah, it looks okay, blah, blah, blah. And then my senior year, I was really looking into it. And at this time, I wanted to be a medical examiner. So I was really interested in the bio department. And there were some really awesome things about the bio department. So I decided to go to a senior scholar day. and I went to it and it was awesome. I got to hear about how awesome the professors are, the class sizes, everything. And what I liked about senior scholar days, there was a mock class, so it was like I was, attending the school for a day. So it really gave me a good feel. And then I decided that I really love the class sizes. I love the small campus. And then, like Jordan said, it's far enough away from home, but not too far to where I can't go home if I wanted to for me. So that was everything that made me decide to come to Ursuline, and definitely don't regret anything about that decision. And I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome, thank you. So let's go to our next question that was sent in, and we'll start with Bella again. Do you remember move-in day and orientation? What was that experience like for you? And kind of tell us, what your feelings were and all of that around moving in.
Okay, so move-in day was definitely one I remember. So my freshman year move-in day, I had my mom and my sister come with me from Canada all the way to Ohio, so roughly about a 5 to 6 hour drive, which was no big deal at the time. I had my car packed with absolutely everything I owned, like in my house. I had a mini fridge as well, so like that was just insane. We get there, and I know that for athletes, because I came in actually a little earlier, so 2 weeks earlier than the rest of the school did. So I got my own move-in day, I guess you can say, for being a fall sport preseason athlete. And it was just so different. Like, just all athletes, volleyball, cross country, and soccer were on campus. So it was like, oh, it's kind of like just our own little sanctuary area and nobody's here. I love it. So it gave everybody time to like unpack, do their rooms. My roommate had actually moved in a week before because she was part of a nursing program in which they moved in 3 weeks prior. So I got to have my time to unpack everything without my roommate being in there unpacking. I didn't have time to fully unpack because I wanted to also say goodbye to my mom and my sister. So we drove around the area a little bit, and we went to Applebee's and said goodbye, whatever. We get back, and I just remember we just jumped right into soccer and everything like that. The actual physical moving day that came in 2 weeks later, I just remember I felt like I was just all Ursuline at this point. So I was greeting everybody and going, hi, like I'm Bella. And they all thought I was like a senior and was an RA, a resident assistant on campus. But I was just a little freshman trying to make friends. The orientation day itself was so much fun. Soccer had to kind of bounce between practice, going to orientation, practice again. So it was like a very tiresome day. But to conclude the whole thing, it was an amazing experience. There was a barbecue there. There were so many people there to talk to us. I got to meet a bunch of people. My lifelong friends that I met that day are still my good friends now. So definitely a great experience.
What an awesome experience. Jordan.
So my move-in day was like a little bit different because my cousin was having her baby shower that day. So I came in like super early in the morning. It was like 8:30, and I moved all my stuff in. My mom and my brother came, and it was actually really cool because they had a football team. I don't even remember where they were from, but they helped us move everything to my room. Like they just like they ran up to my car, took everything out, put it in one of the little carts, and all my stuff was up in my room. So that was like really cool. And everyone was really welcoming, really friendly. I just remember all the RAs were there. It's kind of a blur, honestly. But then I didn't stay for that day of orientation. I ended up coming back the next day, and it was kind of like I had to just like jump in and find people because I didn't know anyone. I didn't meet anyone the day before. So I just remember walking up to Daly and like just sitting down at a table with a bunch of people and like trying to like put myself out there and be like, hi, I'm Jordan. And I just remember we did a lot of fun stuff. I couldn't tell you what it was, but I remember I had fun, and I remember the barbecue and playing games, and they had inflatables and all kinds of stuff. But it was a really good experience. I met a lot of people. I still talk to a lot of people, like Bella said, to this day that I met there. And so, yeah.
Awesome. Sounds like a really busy weekend.
Yeah.
For you. Nadia.
Okay, so wow, this feels like it was forever ago, but my move-in day, I was a little like nervous because it was like, you know, the first time I was going to be away from home for a long time. I was paired with a random roommate, so I was nervous to meet her. I also had a football team move in all my stuff, so that was really awesome that we didn't have to haul all that upstairs. But overall, from what I remember, it went really well. My roommate and I got along, but like we barely got to talk to each other this day because we had to go do the orientation stuff and we weren't necessarily with each other because the whole point is to, you know, get yourself acquainted with Ursuline, get to meet your class because, you know, you want to make friends, you want to get to know one another because you're going to spend quite some time together. So I remember we did a bunch of like icebreaker activities that were really fun. And then we were learning about like all of our core values like student focus and collaboration and all that. And I just remember it all being really fun, but I also really wanted to get back to my room to unpack my stuff at the same time. So it was like really conflicting for me. And then I know by the time the end of the day came, I was so tired. I didn't even want to unpack my room. I just wanted to sleep. So I don't think I ended up unpacking my room until like maybe Wednesday when classes started. Because back when I was a freshman, we moved in Sunday and then we had orientation Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then started on Wednesday. So all those 3 days, I had every intention of unpacking stuff and I didn't anyway, but it was okay. It turned out really well. The first week of classes, they're pretty chill on you and they don't expect a lot out of you, especially when you're a freshman. Now, when you get higher in the grades, they are like, yeah, you should know what you're doing by now. So they're not as like lax on you, but it was a good adjustment and it wasn't too hard for me. And it was a fun couple of days.
Good. That's awesome. Yeah, I think definitely one of the key factors there is, you know, you don't have to get all of your stuff unpacked and your room set up in that first day. You know, your first couple days are going to be so busy and, you know, you're going to be meeting so many people. You know, you're going to get, you know, the whole year to get to know your roommate. So, you know, definitely just being able to dive in and, you know, experience Ursuline in its full is really what that weekend's about. So moving on to our third question, who is your favorite professor and why? Back to Bella.
Ooh, that's a really tough question. I mean, I'm law while Jordan is nursing and Nadia's psychology. So there's definitely going to be three different answers for this question. But I don't know, being a law student and a business student, I would have to say my favorite professor is definitely my advisor. I love her so much. Her name is Anne Murphy Brown. She's very organized. She's very involved. I am able to communicate with her whenever I need be. I have her cell number on my phone. I'm able to talk to her, but I'm a little biased because that is my advisor. So I'll branch out and say my favorite professor had to be Kevin Flynn, a part of the business department. He's just so funny and fresh. Like, we would go into class, and at the end of every class, we would take attendance, and he would call your name, and you would have to come up with a joke. Like, it could be anything, and he would literally laugh if it was the worst joke on the planet. And he was just so kind and so accommodating, and I feel like that's how all the teachers are at Ursuline, but definitely those two.
All right, thank you, Bella. Over to Jordan.
This is such a hard question. And I don't want to give like a generic answer. Like I really haven't had any bad professors. Like especially once I started in the nursing program, like I was like, "Oh, this is my favorite professor." But then the next semester would come and I was like, "No, they are." So I really don't think I have one. All of my nursing professors are probably my favorite. Like they're just so good at what they do and they're so knowledgeable and helpful and they want you to succeed. I just really haven't had a bad experience with anybody and I've loved all my professors, so I don't have like one specific one. Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard question.
It is a hard question. I know a lot of students really love all of their professors, especially ones in, you know, the field that they're most interested in because, you know, they're there and learning about something that they find super interesting. So, you know, the perspective from all the different professors is always really key. Nadia, do you have a favorite?
So for the psych department, we only have two professors, and I have to say that they're both my favorite. Like I can't pick between them at all. And they have just different perspectives. So like Dr. Frazier, he's currently a practicing clinical psychologist. So he has so many stories about so many clients he's had and that he currently even has. So he's always giving us these examples. And it's something that I think really is essential to what we're learning about psychology, because we're not just reading from textbooks or watching videos, we're getting his firsthand experiences. And that is just the best thing ever. It's amazing. And then you have Dr. Edmonds, who is an experimental psychologist. So he's teaching us everything about stats and how to conduct an experiment. And because of his experience, we are able to have several different research methods classes, which is so awesome for undergraduate programs. He always talks about how when we're applying to graduate schools, they're always impressed that Ursuline students have a lot of research experience. So we have 4 research methods class, and if someone even exceeded all of those, they can do like an independent study and count it as a research methods class and run their own experiment. So that is just unbelievably awesome. And I've talked to a couple graduate programs actually because I'm applying to them now, and they've told me that they were really impressed that I have this research experience and that not many undergraduate students do. It's more something you do in your graduate program. So it's something that Ursuline definitely provides us that not any other undergraduate program does. So I definitely don't think I can pick between the two of them, but they're both really, really, really awesome professors.
That's really awesome, Nadia. Thank you for sharing. We did have one question chatted in. This is directed towards Nadia. You seem to be the only student on the panel who has switched majors since coming in as a first year to now. So what was that experience like, and what do you recommend to a high school student who's maybe not so sure what they want to do and they have an idea, but they're not sure they want to stick to that idea?
So I came to Ursuline dead set on bio pre-med. I wanted to be a medical examiner. At the time, we had this program called First Year to Career, and I let you do a first year internship and like just do like little workshops to improve your career skills. So I did all that, and I actually went to the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's office, it was an awesome experience. I saw an autopsy and everything. Nothing scared me, and I was really dead set on it still. And this was at the end of my first semester as a freshman. Then in spring, I took general psychology, and I loved it way more than I loved any other class I was taking. So the first test came along, I did really well on it, and Dr. Edmonds was like, hey, you could pursue a minor in psychology, you could double major, or you could just take some classes on the side if it's something you seem to be interested in. So I thought about it, and I was like, I don't know, like I'm so busy in all my biology stuff, and like this was just a class I had to take in order to graduate, blah, blah, blah. Well, we kept getting into this content, and I realized that like I loved the psychology stuff and I liked the biology stuff. And your career should be something you love, not something you like. So I went through this whole process of, I think I should actually be working towards something I love. So I went through this whole process. I talked to all my friends. I had a friend who was in the psych department, so I asked her all about it. And I talked to my mom, and it was like this big thing because I was so dead set on being a medical examiner for so long. But I really decided that I needed to do something that I love because that's what I'm going to do the rest of my life. So I decided to change. The process was very easy. I just had to go get some paperwork and get all the correct people to sign it. It was very easy. Everyone made it an easy process for me. So that was great. And after that went through, the next semester, I was a psychology major, and I was so happy. Literally every class I was in was a class I loved. And I will never go back on that decision. I would do it 10 times over again, and it was the best decision I've made for myself.
That's awesome. Thank you, Nadia. All right, we have one more question before we wrap it up for you all. So again, we'll start with Bella. What is one piece of advice for high school students looking at colleges?
I would definitely say I do tours at Ursuline. I am one of the UGAs on campus, so probably seen me, probably haven't, but I work in the admissions department for that reason, and I get this question a lot, and I always, always, always say this. When students are looking for a school, you got to pick something that you would want. You got to pick a major that you would like, something that corresponds with you. Don't factor in what your parents want you to do. Don't factor in what everyone else is telling you. Take that information and base the decision off of your feelings. Don't base it off of what other people are telling you. So if your mom wants you to go to a certain place and your dad wants you to go to another place, but you're feeling like completely different, take those perspectives in and account for them, but don't let it be your main reason. You're the one who wants to be happy. You're the one who's going to have to go to this school for 4 years. This is your major. This is your life. It's not anyone else's. So I would definitely say take into consideration yourself before others.
Thank you, Bella. That's really great advice. Jordan?
That was like a really good answer, and that's kind of like what I was gonna say. I feel like it's really important to, like, college is such a big deal. Like, this is the beginning of like the rest of your life. Like, this is setting you up for the future, and I feel like if you don't do what's right for you or what's best for you, you're never gonna be happy. And kind of like what Nadia was saying, this is all about happiness and doing something you love and something that makes you happy. So it's important to do what you feel is right. Don't listen to what your parents say. Don't listen to what your friends say. Like, just because your friends are all going to big campuses and think that like everything is so great, you have to still do what you have to do. And I wish I would have kind of looked at it in that perspective more when I was coming into college.
All right. Thank you, Jordan. And over to Nadia.
Definitely agree with both of what Bella and Jordan had said. And to add on to that, I would definitely say to make sure that like the academic is obviously the most important, but also look at like what student activities there are and organizations you can get involved in. Because something that I am glad that I've done throughout college was get involved in student life, whether you're a resident student or a commuter, being involved in something more than just your sport or just your academics has really like branches you out and grows you as a leader and as a person, honestly. And it's just great to get yourself all well rounded, and it really immerses yourself in the school. And when you're that immersed, when you're, get to your graduating year, you don't want to leave, but it's just great memories you get to look back on.
All right. Thank you, Nadia. Yeah, that is all really great advice. Think about what you want. It's, again, to reiterate what the student said, it is your 4 years and, what you want to major in. And it really is a stepping stone into the rest of your life. Make sure you're getting involved because you don't want to look back and wish you would have, done some of the things that you thought about doing but didn't do. Jump all in, see what you like, see what you can handle with your academics and your sport, and just go from there. So thank you, ladies, for all jumping on with me today. Your answers were all phenomenal to our questions. And thank you all for joining us on this webinar, and we hope to see you all soon. Bye.